Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome to a brand new video where today I'm going to be giving you my predictions for the Euro 2024 qualifiers. Now as we know, round 1 and 2 of the qualifiers have just come to an end, so I feel like it is the perfect time for me to release my predictions on every single group. Now that we've got a better understanding of all the teams involved. Totally not because I forgot to do a prediction video beforehand. But of course, without wasting any time, because there are a lot of groups to talk about, jumping into Group A. Now, of course, before we jump into the exact predictions, if you guys don't know how the qualification process works for Euro 2024, essentially in every single group, the top 2 teams of every group will qualify automatically for the tournament, and the third place team of every single group will have to battle it out. So, of course, looking at Group A, for example, I mean, the likes of Spain, Scotland, Norway, Georgia, any of these teams could make it through to the next round. I'm sorry, Cyprus, I know that you're there as well, but realistically I'm not sure whether you'll make it through compared to the others.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is gonna hurt like a mother.
And because, I mean, as I said, the top 2 automatically make it and the third place teams battle it out. With these predictions, I'm not going to mention every single place of every single prediction. I mean, I'm going to mention the top 2 and then top 3 predictions. But I mean, between 4th and 5th place, let's be honest, no one really cares. So of course, look at the 2 teams that I think will make it through Group A. I mean, surely Spain has to win this group. Yes, I know they just lost to Scotland, but they do have a brand new coach in charge. So I do feel like they will take some time to adjust. And by the time the tournament comes around, they will be fully fit and ready. But in the meantime, obviously, I do think that they will win this group. Obviously, they got that very convincing 3-0 win over Norway. But in that game versus Scotland, something that I am slightly worried about is Spain put forward an absolutely awful team. One of the worst teams I've seen Spain put forward. I do feel like under a brand new manager, I do feel like he heavily underestimated the likes of Scotland. And I do feel like he had some very poor judgment there. So I do hope that improves as time goes on. And you know what? Maybe this time around, it is a manager that will finally select David De Gea. Yeah. Obviously, looking at the second team that will get automatic qualifications in this group, I mean, between Georgia, Norway and Scotland, it could genuinely go either way here, and it could all go down to point difference. But I do think, to be honest, after the performances I've seen, I am going to put Scotland there. I mean, Scott McTominay from Manchester United, getting 4 goals in 2 games. I mean, who would have thought for Scotland that maybe Scott McTominay isn't a centre-back? But obviously, I mean, can you imagine if he played like that for Manchester United with him and Casemiro playing the way that they do? That would be mental. But once again, he just seems to be a totally different player when playing for United. But obviously, look at Scotland as a whole. They were very impressive this World Cup, or this international break, should I say. I mean, considering they only had 25% possession versus Spain, to get a 2-0 win is very, very impressive. And they've kind of showed me that they can make it through to the next stage. Now, of course, in terms of the third place team in this group, I mean, as I said, it's between Norway and Georgia in my opinion. And it is not an easy prediction. I mean, I love Kvaratskhelia. I think he's been brilliant for Napoli this season, but I have to give third place to Norway. Yes, I mean, they did struggle a tiny bit without Erling Haaland this international break, but I do feel like compared to Georgia, they've still got a strong enough squad, even when they're missing a star player or 2. And I just do think they are the better team and they should make it through. Now, jumping into Group B, we do have Netherlands, France, Republic of Ireland, Greece and Gibraltar, which I'm going to say this, I think France have no excuse but to win this group. I mean, you have Kylian Mbappe, one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world at the moment, who captaining his nation at 24 years old to get 2 goals and an assist versus Netherlands.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
I mean, how could you say France won't end up winning this group? Once again, they're absolutely dominated versus Netherlands, and I don't see any excuse here. Saying that, look at Netherlands, I do think that they should get at least 2nd place in this group. Although I was kind of worried looking at them versus Gibraltar, because although they got 3 goals in that game, I mean, 52 shots and only 3 going in. I mean, that sounds like Johnny Sins, to be honest with you. Because look at them once again, they just need to be a lot more lethal with their finishing. Saying that, as we know, this team is filled with some absolute talent, and I do think they'll get automatic qualification. Obviously, in terms of third place, I do think it will be between Greece and Republic of Ireland, and I'm going to back the Republic of Ireland to make it through. I think they've got some of the best young players in world football at the moment, and I do feel like they are a nation that are heavily underappreciated, and they could be real dark horses by the time the tournament comes around. Now, jumping into Group C, once again, a very interesting group, as we do have Italy, England, Ukraine, North Macedonia, and Malta. Now, in terms of winning the group, I think England should take it.
Oh no.
Not again.
I mean, once again, an advantage of recording this prediction video after the first two rounds is we kind of have an understanding of the teams. And looking at England versus Ukraine and Italy, they were by far the better teams there. Even without Roberto Carlos versus Ukraine, I do think England, once again, they've shown time in and time out that they by far have enough talent to win a group like this. In terms of second place, I'm not gonna lie, part of me wanted to put Ukraine there, put a bit of a shock surprise, but I still think Italy will take it. No, they weren't brilliant versus England in their first game, but obviously they've got a lot to prove after not qualifying for the World Cup. They did win the previous Euros, and as I said, they've got enough quality to make it through. Obviously in third place, as I said, although North Macedonia could hold off a few surprises here, I do think that Ukraine will take it. They've got a lot of talent. And versus England, although no, they didn't have a brilliant game, there were moments, especially in the second half, where they really switched on, and I do feel like they could qualify for the competition. Now, jumping into Group D, it's a very, very interesting group, as we have Croatia, Wales, Armenia, Turkey, and Latvia. Now, I am going to say I do think that the winner will obviously be between Croatia and Wales here, and I do think the deciding factor here is the fact that Gareth Bale doesn't play for Wales anymore.
Everywhere I go, I see his face. I just really miss him.
I do think Croatia will end up taking it. I mean, at the end of the day, they draw versus Wales, which is just a 93rd minute equalizer. Other than that, Croatia had a very, very solid international break. They've still got a lot of talent, although it is an aging squad, if you want to call it that. They are introducing a lot of younger talent to this nation, and as I said, I do think they'll take it through. Looking at second place, as I said, I do think it will be Wales, even without Gareth Bale. I still think that they do have a good enough squad from defense to attack. I mean, no, it's not the best team in world football, but definitely in this group should make it through. Obviously, looking at third place between Armenia, Turkey, and Latvia, I do think it will be between Armenia and Turkey. And I'm going to go for Turkey on this one, you know. Although, yes, once again, another nation with an aging squad, I do feel like they are putting younger talents in the squad. And we can't forget 2 years ago how absolutely brilliant Turkey was and how many surprises they could pull off. I mean, no offense to Armenia, I always do like them. I obviously have a soft spot for Henrik Mkhitaryan, me being a Manchester United fan. But 0 wins in Armenia's last 7 games. I mean, in my professional football analytic... What? That's not even a word. In my professional analyst opinion, 0 wins in 7 games is not that great. I'm not that convinced by it. But of course, jumping into Group E, we've got Poland, Czech Republic, Albania, Faroe Islands, and Moldova. Quite an interesting group, to be honest with you. And I do think, obviously, once again, the winners have to be between Czech Republic and Poland. And I'm not too convinced in terms of who a winner will be here, but I am going to go for Poland. Once again, they did qualify for the recent World Cup. Although, yes, they weren't necessarily brilliant, I do think they improved compared to the previous Euros. As you know, once again, a team that is absolutely stacked with talent, but they do need to improve in the way they play as a team. In terms of second place, I have gone for Czech Republic, who, yes, although did beat the likes of Poland, once again, they then drew to Moldova. I do think Czech Republic is one of those on their day kinds of teams, as in on their day, they can be absolutely brilliant, or they could fail big time, and I am a tiny bit worried for them. In terms of third place in this group, I mean, no offense to Moldova or Faroe Islands, but I have to go for Albania here. I do think that this is a team, once again, that is heavily underrated, and come June for the next round of qualifiers, the likes of Broja will be back in the squad, and hey, maybe he'll even look super solid for Chelsea.
Don't.
Don't what?
Don't give me hope.
Next up is Group F, and we start off with Belgium, Austria, Sweden, Azerbaijan, and Estonia. Now, of course, I do think Belgium will take this one, although I was a tiny bit worried them entering into this international break. Obviously, with the brand new manager, they had a very solid turnaround. A 3-0 win over Sweden, and of course a 3-2 win over Germany in a friendly. I mean, the likes of Romelu Lukaku scoring a hat-trick, maybe he'll also be back for Chelsea.
Don't.
But obviously, jokes aside, I do think Belgium had a very, very solid turnaround, and I do think compared to the other opposition in their group, they should win this one, and hopefully they can still push through with an aging golden generation. In terms of second place in this group, I do think it is between Austria and Sweden, and I'm going to go for Sweden. I mean, this is a team that is absolutely stacked. I mean, maybe not necessarily the best player in the world in every position.
How dare you!
But you've got Forsberg, you've got Alexander Isak, you've got Ilanga, Victor Lindelof, Olsen. This is a team with a lot of threat to it, and I think they'll get automatic qualifications. In terms of third place, as I said, I do think it will be Austria. I thought they had a very, very solid international break, and once again, just like so many other nations here, from defense all the way to attack, they are stacked with talent, and I can't not see them making it through somehow. Now, jumping into Group D, we have Hungary, Serbia, Montenegro, Bulgaria, and Lithuania. Now, looking at Hungary, although they are called Hungary, they've absolutely feasted on some top opposition over the last year or two. As you know, in almost every recent tournament, they have almost been put in the group of death, and they've already held their own versus some very top opposition. And you know what? I'm very, very tempted to put them as the winners of this group, but I still do think it will be Serbia. They've gotten 2 clean sheets and 4 goals in 2 games over the international break, and although no, they didn't necessarily achieve what I thought they would in the previous World Cup, they are still a team stacked with some absolute talent, and on their day, they can take on almost anyone. And especially in a group like this, I feel like there's almost no excuse for them not to win it. As I said, second place, it is going to be Hungary though, because looking at them in the recent Euros, they really held off quite a few surprises. I do feel like it is a nation on the rise, and as I said, they should qualify. Now, of course, in third place, I do feel like it will be between Montenegro and Bulgaria, and I'm going to go for Montenegro because looking at them as a nation, I do feel like compared to Bulgaria, they are very well rounded, and yeah, I just think that they are the better team, to be honest. Now, jumping into Group H, once again, what a team this is going to be, and I'm not going to lie, this was one of the most difficult teams or groups for me to predict. I mean, you've got Denmark, Finland, Slovenia, Kazakhstan, Northern Ireland, and San Marino. I mean, I say it's a difficult group. I'm sorry, San Marino, you will end dead last.
He's out of line, but he's right.
But other than that, what a group. Who do I predict to go through? Obviously, I do think that the winners of this group will be Denmark, despite the fact that they slipped up versus Kazakhstan. I mean, you saved the life for Christian Eriksen. I don't know how you somehow revived that game for Kazakhstan. Looking at them, I mean, they absolutely switched off towards the end of the game, but I do feel like there are a lot of promising things that happened this international break. Obviously, looking at Højlund, I think he was absolutely brilliant, and he's going to be such an exciting striker to watch in the future. Other than that, we know the quality in this Denmark team, and once again, I've said about so many other teams, there's no excuse for them not to win this group. Now, of course, in terms of second place, this is where a lot of questions need to be asked. I mean, looking at the Finland national team, they've got a lot of brilliant players, but other than having big names in their squad, I'm not really sure they necessarily play well as a team. And of course, until they can prove that they can play well as a team, in my opinion, I am going to put Slovenia in second, as they do have some top players, and Kazakhstan in third place.
Great success.
Once again, for me not to put Finland to make it through to the next stage. I mean, once again, it's a bit risky, but I have to make risks with these predictions. Looking at Kazakhstan, once again, they are going to kind of be a wild card in my predictions, or in my opinion. I do feel like they are a nation that could surprise everyone by qualifying for the tournament, and they could even surprise quite a few people in the tournament itself. Once again, we saw some really, really top games from them, and I'm excited to see what they have. Obviously, look at Northern Ireland though. It's not easy for me to predict them not making it through. I do feel like Michael O'Neill, their brand new / old coach who used to manage them, him being back in the reign of the club or of the nation, I do feel like he is a very, very solid option for them. But once again, they are kind of in a rebuild at the moment, and Northern Ireland still need to prove 1 or 2 things to me. Now, of course, jumping into our second last group, we have Switzerland, Israel, Romania, Kosovo, Belarus, and Andorra. But of course, before we jump into those predictions, ladies and gentlemen, if you have enjoyed the video up until this point, please do subscribe down below. Once again, if you don't want your favorite nation to miss out on the Euros, don't miss the subscribe button down below. Of course, it helps the channel out massively, and I would really, really appreciate it. But looking at this group, I mean, Switzerland surely have to take it. I mean, a 5-0 win and a 3-0 win in this group so far. I mean, once again, what else can I say about them? They will make it through. In terms of second place, once again, it wasn't an easy prediction for me to make, but I do think it will be Romania. They won 2 out of their 2 games this international break. I do feel like although they don't have household names throughout their squad like other nations, they do play very well as a team, and they could surprise a lot of people. Now, of course, in third place, I do think it will be between Kosovo and Israel, and the only thing that's kind of put me off Israel is over the last few months, they've lost to the likes of Cyprus, Malta, and they've drawn twice to Iceland. Once again, those aren't necessarily promising things for a team, and I'm going to go for Kosovo, who have gotten 4 draws and have gone unbeaten in their last 5 games. Once again, very, very impressive, and that kind of stubbornness can win matches. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to our final group of our Euro qualifier predictions. And once again, look here, Jay, you've got Portugal, you've got Bosnia, Iceland, Luxembourg, Slovakia, and Liechtenstein. What a group this is going to be. I mean, in terms of the winner, I mean, it should be relatively easy with Portugal. Getting 10 goals in 2 games and conceding 0 goals. I mean, do I really have to justify further than that why they should make it through? I mean, you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, who's a finished player playing in Saudi Arabia, scoring 4 goals in 2 games. I know it wasn't the highest of opposition in world football, but once again, Portugal have proved that they can be ruthless, and they have improved over the last year or two. Looking at second place in this group though, once again, it's not going to be easy. There are quite a few teams I could choose between, but I'm going to go for Slovakia. Once again, looking at them as a nation, I do feel like people have forgotten what they've done over the last year or two, especially looking at Euro 2020. They were really brilliant. It was only due to a slip up versus Spain that really cost them that tournament, but other than that, they are a top nation, and we can't forget that. Now in third place, I'm very, very tempted to put the likes of Iceland, who scored 7 versus Liechtenstein, which I mean, absolutely brilliant from them. They could qualify, but I'm going to go for Bosnia for some reason. Once again, look at them. They've still got some absolute class talent, and I feel like the difference between Bosnia and Iceland as well, first of all, Bosnia did beat Iceland 3-0, but I do feel like a lot like a nation like Kosovo, Bosnia is a nation that is very, very stubborn and could get the tricky draw here or there versus top opposition. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for my Euro 2024 qualifier predictions. Obviously, if you guys disagree with any of the predictions I made, please let me know down below. As I said, don't forget to put all your predictions down below. Please don't forget to like. Can we get this video to 20 likes along with you subscribing down below? I would really appreciate it. But of course, until next time, this has been Finn, FYNN. Cheers.